Hello everyone and welcome to my review of the World Snooker Championships 2023. It is a bit late, I do apologise for that, but it's been a couple of weeks. You're probably all feeling the snooker blues anyway, so what better time to reintroduce a bit of talk and get us all thinking about snooker again. So yeah, it's just the review of the World Championships and where to start. I mean, of course, with the champion, Luca Brissell. I mean, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Well done to Luca Brissell. I think it's really, really great that he won it, actually. I have to say that pre-tournament, didn't back him at all. I don't think anyone did. Come on, let's be honest. Like, who did? Come on. Like, he's not won a match there. And his style of play just is, before a tournament, at least, it was too streaky, let's say, to be consistent over the 17 days. So I think that's why we all thought that he wouldn't win it. I mean, he's obviously got the talent. When he was first on the scene, probably people were saying he's a future world champion. But how many people have we said that about, and then they just sort of do nothing, like, don't want to drop him in, but sorry. Michael White is probably an example, everyone sort of said he's going to be a world champion. And he got knocked off the tour a couple of years ago, so I mean that's just the hard nature of snooker, I'm afraid. They're all pretty good, aren't they? They're all very, very good. So there can only be one world champion every year. This year it was Luca Brissell. Got to say, really, really good for the game. Although I didn't expect him, and probably going into the final as well, I probably would have said I wanted Mark Selby to win it, but after it, I'm really, really happy that Brissell won it, because I think it's just really, really good for the game. I mean, obviously good for European snooker, because he's going to drive that to no end and hopefully inspire a lot of people to take it up. But yeah, just for the game in general, it's really good to see new faces. I think just it's great seeing Ronnie, Trump, Selby, win all these tournaments, and they're brilliant players, and it's good to watch, of course. But I think every game needs its new faces. Like with football, we've got Mbappe and Haaland now, and it's brilliant. Like, it's so exciting. So I think it's really, really good. Just on it himself, I think it's really cool the way he did it as well. He didn't win a world championship in the way that one would think would be the way to do it, which is, play good match play, solid safety, scoring when you're in. He just sort of blasted everyone off the table, didn't he? I mean, especially with Ronnie in that third round, from 10-6 behind, just destroyed him, really, didn't he? Like, that was just incredible. And in the final as well, I think he played extremely well, like really, really well. Every time he was in amongst the balls, you just thought, yeah, that's frame over. And, more often than not, it was. So, yeah, really, really good. I think it's very easy on the eye, he just sort of gets down. It doesn't even look like he really lines it up, does it? He just sort of gets down, gives it a whack, and it smashes the back of the pocket. Brilliant. So yeah, really, really good for snooker that he won, I think, and long may it continue. His best match probably was the semis, I would say. The way he went down and then to just come back from it. I think the way that he sort of approached this tournament helped him out quite a lot. There was obviously a lot. It was obviously well reported that he was going out drinking, playing PlayStation, all that kind of stuff. Definitely that relaxed him, 100%. And especially when he was 14-5 down, it's like, of course you're going to be relaxed then. You're going to think, what chance have I got here? And yeah, to win that match 17-15 is just incredible, really. You've got to say, Sejobi probably choked it a little bit. I mean, you have to say that at 14-5 up. If you don't win that, it's got to be some sort of a choke. Which is a shame, because I think he was playing brilliantly. He was so good in that match. The previous matches, I thought it was more other people handing it to him rather than him playing well. But that one, he played so well, and then he just kind of handed that to Brissell. With Brissell obviously playing really well. So yeah, well done, Luca Brissell. Be interesting to see how he does with his year as world champion, and perhaps he can be the one to break the so-called Crucible curse. That'll be interesting. But yeah, let's move on. What do I think about the quality of the play of this tournament? Well, so we had 2 147s, one from Kyron Wilson, one from Mark Selby in the final. The one from they were so different, those 147s, weren't they? You know, Wilson, the last few reds, he sort of had to really make shots and just pot blacks from difficult positions. So that was really, really well done. And then with Selby's one, it just looked easy, didn't it? He just sort of played every shot perfectly, and yeah, it just looked like a normal break. Like, you wouldn't have thought him making that break that he was making a max in a world final. The first person to ever do that. So, you know, nice bit of history there, which was brilliant. And yeah, the overall quality of play, I would say it was pretty good. Probably not the best we've ever seen. The best that I've seen ever since watching snooker was probably 2018 when Mark Williams won it. That was just incredible. To be fair, also Judd Trump winning it in 19 was also incredible. Yeah, this one there was some good stuff. Definitely. And there were also some more scrappy matches, but you know, that's the same with every tournament, isn't it, really? So I wouldn't say outstanding, I wouldn't say bad. It was good. You know, they're great players, obviously. It was good, but that was also helped by another point, which I'll get onto a bit later. A bit controversial. So staying for that. So yeah, quality of play, pretty good. We'll leave that at that. Let's move on. The best matches in the tournament, well, probably the best match. I think the final was actually very, very good. Very good. It never really felt like Brissell was gonna lose it when he got so far ahead. You know, Selby in the second session played really well, and then in the final session he brought it back to 16-15, I believe. Probably at that point you thought, oh yeah, Selby's probably gonna do a Selby, does what he normally does, and is gonna win the title now. But Brissell kind of, you know, he led the whole way really, didn't he? And yeah, played really, really well. And you know, credit to him, because if you got someone like Selby coming back at you, who's definitely, in my opinion, the best person at coming from behind, then that's a real strong credit to actually stay in front and go on and win that. Definitely the best one-off performance has to be John Higgins beating Kyron Wilson 13-2 in the second round. That was incredible. He played so well. Things did go wrong for Kyron in that match as well. You know, he did get a bad run of the ball, but I think Higgins played brilliantly. And you know, to win 13-2, you can't just be reliant on the run of the ball. I think there has to be a bit which is like, yeah, you know, he's played brilliant, and he did. He was incredible. So yeah, definitely that's the best individual performance for me. Right, moving on from that, the shocks, or the runs from people, the dream runs from the underdogs. That's what I'm trying to say. I guess Sijawi, you have to put in that bracket. You know, absolutely no one put him as getting to the semis. Definitely not. I certainly didn't. I think I backed the other person in every match that he played. To be honest, I think I've said this a couple of times. The first 3 matches, Murphy, Milkins, and then McGill, I think all 3 of those just didn't really turn up against him, to be honest. Especially McGill. I was so disappointed with that, just because I really, really like McGill, and especially at the Worlds, I think he's such a great match player. And yeah, to see him just not quite rise to it was really, really annoying. It's almost like with McGill that he has to play someone good to turn up, because it kind of reflects how he goes on in the whole season, really, doesn't it? Like he doesn't tend to do much damage in small tournaments, and then he just turns up for the Worlds. It's like he needs something big. He needs a big challenge to motivate him to. You know, he said in some of his interviews, he was like, I love the eyeballs. I love it when people are just like watching me. The pressure's right on. You're bang under it. And yeah, I think that's absolutely true. You know, I think playing in the back of leisure centres is not the place for him. It's not the place for many people, to be fair. But I think there is a certain type of player that thrives when there's no pressure, and there are certain types that thrive when there is pressure. And McGill certainly fits that latter bracket for me, absolutely. So yeah, to see him not win that match was really disappointing, I have to say. But fair play to Sejour. He played really, really well, especially in the semis. You know, as I said before, it was disappointing that he sort of let it go a bit. The other performance I was really, really chuffed about was Jack Jones. Jack Jones was incredible, I thought. You know, beat Robertson in the second round pretty convincingly, has to be said. Don't know what's going on with Robertson at the Worlds. The hoodoo continues. It just seems to smash whoever he's got in the first round and then not really have the same game for the second or third round. Yeah, I thought he was excellent. I think as well against Mark Allen in the third round, he was so good. And just when the pressure really, really got on, when it was right in that final session of the match, he just buckled a little bit, which is what made Mark Allen win that match, I think. Still though, excellent performance to get that far. I think the win against Robertson was right up there with one of the greatest scalps. You know, it was such a good performance. So hopefully see more of him later, and you know, in other tournaments as well. And then we come to the off-table stuff. I mean, there was the Ronnie versus Hossein saga, which, you know, the build-up was excellent for. You know, they really hyped it up, and to good reason, to be fair. You know, it's not like they built something up that wasn't there. They were genuinely chatting stuff about each other, and I think there was a bit of needle going into it, you know, but just the way a sort of anti-climax was really disappointing. Was it 13-2 in the end, or 3? And yeah, Hossein just did not back it up, which was really annoying, because that could have been like a Crucible classic, like it really could have been. But yeah, Hossein just wasn't there, was he? Ronnie just he knew that it was such a big occasion, and he just got down and focused on the table, and that's what won in that match. You know, Hossein was just somewhere else in that match. He really was. And then what else happened? We had the protesters, of course, hit a bit of media attention. And it was funny in the end. I mean, it was weird at the time. Obviously, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. But looking back on it now, it just seems a bit bonkers, really. And I think everyone's kind of forgotten about it. And yeah, that's them gone for a bit more, I guess. I don't really know what we do about these people, but yeah. There was a bit of talk about empty seats as well. I think the Crucible probably needs to sort out what goes on there. It was on the front row, so it didn't look great on TV, but I believe it was to do with the hospitality packages that it offered. The is it called the Century Club, I believe, where they were just basically having dinner whilst the match was going on, and it's like, okay, yeah, probably something needs to be done about that, because it didn't look great on TV, let's be honest. But yeah, not a big issue really, just a small thing. The final issue off table, I suppose it is on table as well, is the massive pockets. This was a big one really, because I have to say, before the tournament, I was still of the belief that, you know, they are just the same pockets as everyone else. You know, people were banging on about it on Twitter, and I was saying, look, shut up, like, they're tight tables, like, just play on them yourselves and you'll see. I have to say, once I watched a few of them, they just kept coming, didn't they? You know, the people on Twitter were really, really persistent with those videos about the buckets, as they called them. And yeah, some of them were pretty bad, I have to say. I don't know what it is. There is something to do with the slide, that is a thing. Like, you can't tell me that's not a thing. There is slide on new tables and new cloths, and that makes them play bigger than club tables. But yeah, there was something odd about this tournament. I don't really know what happened. Like, you know, even John Higgins was quoted saying it. Mark Selby pulled a few faces at balls going in. So yeah, I think there's certainly a big agenda on social media about big pockets, and probably something needs to be looked at. Mark Williams as well even tweeted himself, he's saying they've been massive for years. So yeah, it's definitely something to think about. Probably I would think I'm going to post a video about that separately at some other point. But that is, yeah, a very interesting one. It probably did take away from the tournament a bit, to be honest. You know, I know we all like to see big breaks, brilliant. But when you see a ball go in that has really, really blatantly missed, it is just poor, isn't it? It's really poor viewing, and it's like, oh god, you must be sat there in the other seat of the player and just think, how the hell has that gone in? Like, what's going on? I think a few of the qualifiers were saying, you know, our tables aren't as slippery as this. So, you know, there's a theory that because it's on the big TV and on BBC that they like to make them bigger because it makes for better viewing. But yeah, it was bad, I have to say. I did sort of join that camp a little bit. I turned. Anyways, that's enough about that. I think let's give it an overall rating. Overall, I'd say it's probably an 8 out of 10 for me. Really good to see Brussels, a new winner. Quality of snooker was pretty good. 2 maximums. Probably not as many shocks as I would like, really. And also probably not as many big clashes. You know, probably the biggest clash we had in terms of stature and prestige of the players would probably be Selby against Higgins, which by the way was an excellent match. That was really, really good. That's got to be up there with one of the matches of the tournament. And then Selby versus Allen in the semis, probably up there as well. Yeah, and interesting. You know, a lot of off table stuff was happening. So yeah, I think it was a good World Championships. I think it was good. And so yeah, I'm going to give that one an 8 out of 10. I think yeah, really, really good. And well done to Luca Brissell. Let's see what he can do in his year as world champion. Looking forward to it all again next year. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think. Obviously subscribe. Obviously. And thanks a lot.